I mean, there are quite a few animals. Like, I wouldn't want to have sex with a man that's part squirrel.
Yeah.
What is this conversation?
What are we talking about?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Romancing the Monsters. I'm Em,
Hi, I'm S.
I'm Seff.
and today is an exciting episode because it is all about monsters. Nothing but monsters. So we read Big Feels. I was going to call it something else. We read Big Feels, which is an anthology by several authors. So yeah, if that sounds like something that'd be interesting to you, I think that the format will be, we'll just go through the stories in order and just like talk a little bit more, like say a little bit about each one, but then talk about the ones that we're more interested in a little bit more depth.
Oh, and don't forget, we are also rating the dick.
Right.
Of course.
How could I forget that?
We cannot not rate the dicks.
Was that a not pun?
There are no knots in this book.
Sadly, yes. I don't want to false advertise. No knots were seen in this anthology.
Actually, I'm knocking off points.
Yeah.
As she sips her tea.
That's illegal in my book. There are 10 stories in this anthology. So without further ado, how about we start? Because we might be here a while. I read all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys read a few of them. Do you want to just give like overall feelings about the anthology, perhaps?
Yeah.
So yeah, I read 4 and I enjoyed them. Like, they're very light reads. There's not much besides, the smut and whatnot. But
Yeah.
there's one that really shocked and like surprised me and like I was absolutely like obsessed with.
I can guess which one it is.
And I loved it. And I literally contacted the author, Stella
No
Frost,
way.
just to tell her that I really loved it. And I absolutely
okay.
like.
It's not the one I thought it would be.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Okay.
Yeah, no. So this one's like the Demon King's prize. I'm not going to talk.
Let's not get into it.
I'm not. I was just saying that like I liked
Uh-huh.
it so much that I contacted the author to tell her that I loved it.
No, it was really good. Yeah.
Anyways.
I enjoyed it. It's a very like sweet anthology.
Yeah.
So this is for the people that love monsters, but you love sweet, devoted monsters who, they see you and right away they're like, I'm gonna take care of you for the rest of your life, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. But I did appreciate how original some of them were. Some of these monsters are monsters that I've never encountered before, which certainly made for an interesting experience in some cases. One of these stories is particularly shocking to me. Oh, I should also say that the anthology is called Big Feels because it's all about size kink. So it's all about big guys with smaller women, or, some of them are tall according to our standards, but, next to giants, they're pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're into size differences, there you go. Height differences, big ass dicks, you're going to be served.
For me, my size kink activated with this anthology.
Interesting. Wait, what?
Wait, so you never
didn't
had
have
one
one
before?
Yes, but for some reason, I don't know why it kind of shocked me with these stories.
I mean, there's big and then there's like big. There's like a 6'4" guy / monster, and then there's like a 10 feet tall.
I don't know how the
monster.
cooch survived in all of these stories.
Right? It's very much like, how is it gonna fit?
We'll make it fit.
We'll make it fit, but sometimes it truly does not fit.
It does not fit, so we gotta accommodate and try different.
So, we appreciate the variety here. We appreciate the variety.
Of course.
S.
So I loved it. I love the stories, the couple stories that I read. I feel like maybe I wasn't expecting them to be as sweet.
Yeah.
For being monsters.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was my only thing that I wished it wasn't as sweet, but it was good. I liked it. There are some authors where I feel like I would love to revisit, and hopefully they write more in that world.
Yeah, that's what's so fun about anthologies.
Mm-hmm.
You actually get to kind of, it's bite-sized version of what they usually write, I imagine. So you get to, like, you know, test out the waters, see which ones you resonate with, which ones you like their writing, their stories, their characters, and which ones you don't. So, you know, it's always kind of hit and miss, you know, when you're reading an anthology. I think it's pretty rare that you're going to read one where you absolutely loved everything, though. If that's the case, amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I love them. I will say, though, the annoyance for me is that they all come in one big book, and then you don't get that feeling of, like, satisfaction when you finish a story, because then it's just like there's like 8 more. I'm very anal about that stuff. Like, I'm very, very intense when it comes to my Goodreads goal, and the fact that I can't add each book separately really annoys me. But you know, I'll get over myself. That's fine. All right. So let's start with the first story in the anthology, which was Head in the Clouds by Chloe Parker. I believe you read this one, Seff.
Yes.
So how about you do the honors and tell us what it's about?
All right. So the story starts off with Jess, who's our human girl, and she sees a beanstalk, and she decides, "Ooh, I'm gonna climb it because I feel this intense calling to whatever's up there, but also like there are stories about gold up there." So she climbs it, and she finds an alien, Alovir, who is an alien, right? Or is he a giant?
Yeah,
Alien.
he's
giant.
an alien.
Giant alien.
Giant. Green.
He's a giant alien who has hives and like a bee, but this hive is like, you know, a part of him and a part of the ship, you know, part of the crew, part of the ship. I don't know why I'm quoting Pirates of the Caribbean. Anyways. Okay, why are you dying? Okay, anyways. Jess is like, all right, I'm so exhausted. I'm just going to rest here, you know, until I'm like strong enough to go back home. During that time, Alovir recognizes her as like his mate, or like I guess mate equivalent, and she still feels this intense calling towards him and his hive. Anyways, the story more or less is like them coming together and them, you know, choosing to be with each other.
Yeah, these stories are very short, so like you can expect a lot of like insta love happening. How did you like this story?
It was good. It was like a good way to get your feet wet in this anthology. It was just like a soft, sweet story. You still got the alien, you still got the fancy dick.
Well, speaking of, the reason why I can't bring myself to like that story is I didn't understand the appendage.
There was one scene I didn't understand how it happened.
Well, try to describe it to me, because the book tried to describe it to me and I was very confused, which in turn made me not enjoy the sex scene as much as I could have because I didn't understand what was going on, what it looked like.
Okay, so how I envisioned it, and like how I literally reread the sex scene again so that I can pinpoint what the dick looked like.
For research.
Yeah, I did the research. Okay, so big dick, obviously.
Yeah.
His dick pulsates, so it vibrates, vibrating dick.
Okay.
A rainbow of colors on this dick. There's green, that part there's pink, there's white, there's like it's translucent at the tip, and then there's like gold in there as well.
Yeah.
He also has a scalloped bridge of tissue on the top. So I guess like the top of the dick. And it was fuzzy like his antenna. And while, you know,
a fuzzy dick?
Yeah, I mean that's how I read it.
Interesting.
And then as he's like fucking her, it unfurls and it turns into like a suction.
I did not get that. Okay.
Yeah. The scene I was confused with though was it unfurled and it started sucking on her clit, but then for some reason he was able to bend down at the same time and like eat her out. So I don't know how long it is. How long do you think it is? It'd be really long, right?
So he's flexible.
Maybe.
I am confusion. I am. I'm trying to find this because I literally had to screenshot that and send it to someone because I was like, I don't understand what's going on here.
I mean, that's how I read it as, and that's how I envisioned it.
Blah blah blah. He was ... entirely alien, and perhaps the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Alavir was a work of art, a thing of nature. His cock was massive, but so much more complex than I'd realized. Thick at the base and visibly pulsing, which you explained. It went from the leaf green of his skin to something like watercolor, painted in tones of orchid pink and white and gold. That part is clear. It was more tapered than a human's would have been, narrowing towards its tip, which was, to my great satisfaction, uncut. Can appreciate the variety. Kind of rare.
She likes the uncircumcised, yeah.
His flesh went translucent towards the tip, the same glow as the bees flickering along his shaft. That is the part that I was like, what? Why are there bees at his shaft?
Does he have like little bees painted onto his dick? Or are there actual bees?
Or are there actually, like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, why are there bees like actually buzzing around his dick? I wouldn't want that next to my lady parts.
Maybe that's what makes it vibrate. Maybe they're like bees inside of him. Like they're actual bees in his
dick?
member.
But it says his flesh went translucent towards the tip, the same glow as the bees flickering along his shaft. So are they like translucent as well?
I think his dick is like not translucent, but like you're able to see like light, not light through it, but like light within it. So maybe there's like, I don't know, man.
Why are there bees? Like, that is the only sentence that really threw me off. I was like, what?
I think it can make sense with the type of alien that he is, though, like having bees within his dick.
But also, what is the correlation here between bees and fuzzy green alien?
The type of alien he is.
Okay.
You didn't get to the unfurling thing.
Does his dick, like, his cum, is it like honey?
Yes.
Basically, yeah. And then, like, as they're having sex, his hive is kind of sentient, so it's, like, kind of feeling it as well, and, like, his hive likes her, so it kind of starts vibrating as well, and kind of participating in a way.
Yeah. Okay, so,
Did you say that his honey is, like...
an aphrodisiac?
Kind of?
No, I didn't, but that's important to note.
Well, it's not an aphrodisiac. It's kind of like a lube that's, has properties. He applies his honey in places and it kind of acts like a lube, but like a lube that's like got properties that are exciting and they're making that area particularly sensitive, I guess.
Okay, so the yellow frill on his cock, so it's yellow. The yellow frill on his cock, almost like a third antenna, unfurled to touch my clit, brushing over it, and then, to my shock, sucking gently.
I'm into that. I can appreciate that.
Guys, what are we doing here? We're really analyzing this dick.
Because I had questions, okay? I feel like I understand it more now. I'm still confused about the bees, but I can let it go.
I'm confused about the bees, too. But it sounds like a great dick.
I have a newfound appreciation for his dick now.
Yeah. It vibrates. It,
it's colorful.
Has suction.
It's uncut.
You hardly see. You
hardly see that in romance. So, all right. Rating. It was candy canes for the Smut Mess episode. Should we have buckets?
I'm down for buckets.
How many buckets out of 5 was this dick worth?
So, are we talking about, like, the amount of cum that can fit in the buckets? Or are we just talking about just, like, it's a placeholder for, like, a rating? Like, the bucket.
Like, how exciting is it out of 5 buckets? Buckets worth of, you choose.
Okay, so if I'm just rating the dick as is, 5 out of 5 buckets. You know, it has the vibrating, it has the suction, it's got it all. It's quite a great dick. In terms of execution, though, I think I give it a 3 out of 5 because he was just hesitant a lot of the time, and I'm like, God, just get with the program.
In case this wasn't obvious already, this is if you're a family member of any of us,
Oh my God.
this is not the episode.
After I give my rating, you say that.
Exactly. We do this for your own well-being, for Christmas dinners and such. We just don't want that awkwardness.
But mine will be awkward. Thank you.
For me, I would say 4 for the dick. Because I'm still confused about the bees, but I have a newfound appreciation for the rest of it. As for the sex, I would probably agree with a 3, just because it was a little confusing. Okay. Or when I read it in the moment, I was confused, so I didn't get to appreciate it, you know. Yeah. There you go. All right. Also, I feel like it's big feels, right? So it's all about size differences. I feel like the size probably was not, like, as much of an issue here.
It was. He did use the honey to, like, really stretch her out. Like, apparently the honey had properties to, like, it loosened her quite a bit.
Right.
And then he had to really prep her, and he didn't want, like, part of the reason why my rating was a bit low was because he's like, no, it's not going to happen. I'm too big for you. And she's like, no, just do it.
Wait, did it ever go in?
Yeah, it did. No questions. It just happened. He was hesitant for no reason.
We can have them hesitating.
Exactly. That's why.
Yeah, no.
Other than that, it wasn't a bad read. It was a quick, it was just a quick read, and it was enjoyable.
Yeah. It was the start of the anthology, which I always wonder if there's, like, thought put into where stories go, like what story starts the anthology, which one finishes it. Like, I always wonder if there's rhyme or reason to that. So the second story was, and I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation here because I have no idea how to pronounce this, but Veridios. I don't know. By L.A. Holloway. So I believe I'm the only one who read this one, which the girls really missed out because it was so cute.
Which one's this one?
So this one is the tree guy, the tree giant. I briefly mentioned it in our latest catch up and chill. I hadn't gone to the sex part
at
that time. One. So, brief summary. I don't remember the name of the characters, so don't ask me. But you have this scientist and you have this big, giant tree guy that's been sleeping for centuries. And he starts waking up and he starts looking at her and he starts, like, observing her. And he's always loved keeping pets. So he likes to, take animals from the forest and make them his pets. And so he sees this new pet running around and he's like, ooh, a new one. So he kind of captures her and, like, builds her a little pen. Mind you, this guy's, like, 10 feet tall. 10 meters tall, I think. Gosh. So, like, he's big. So for him, she's like an ant, like she's small. So he builds her in a little pen and he, like, literally grabs one of the houses off the floor and, like, brings it into the pen and, like, anyway, he's super cute. And this girl, obviously, she's like, hello, I am not an animal, but then they can't communicate with each other until she eats this, like, mushroom type of thing, and that allows them to talk. And he realizes that she's much more intelligent than he thought she was. Oh, okay. And he kind of doesn't want to let her go, and she kind of doesn't want to leave. And so they, have this budding romance that happens.
Was that a pun on purpose? Because he's a plant.
Oh, God. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, because he's literally, like, whenever she touches him, he starts blooming. Like, she literally is bringing him back to life, because up until then, what we learn is that he had been dying. Like, he had been letting himself die. Because there was just nothing left. And then suddenly he starts blooming again. And yeah, obviously, as romance begins, desire blossoms, to keep the puns going. And like I said, in the catch up and chill, I was kind of like, well, how is this gonna happen? Because he's like 10 meters tall, and one would imagine the dick is proportional. So how? But then we knew that he's got vines. So I am happy to report that the vines do come into play here. But more exciting still is that is that he's got a very interesting dick, okay? It's essentially like a flower.
What?
Aw.
Like it kind of opens up like a flower, and then you know how that like that stem in the middle of the flower, kind of like is it an orchid or something? I don't know. One of them has like a really long stem.
Yeah.
It has a name. I do not know plants terminology. But instead of that, it's kind of like a penis in the middle of that.
What?
And it's super colorful, and it's super big, you know, so obviously at first they can't really do anything. But for the sake of the plot, we discover that he can alter his size. He didn't know. He can alter his size. So he can be like 8 feet tall and have a manageable dick for sex. Still the flower, though.
Good for them.
Yeah.
But you know what? Well, yeah, good for them. They were really cute. But I was very intrigued by this dick. You know, I would like to see drawings of it because I feel like it could be interesting. Tree giants was not a thing that I had read before. And yeah, I always love monster romance where the monster thinks of humans as like beneath them. Cause like fair enough.
Yeah.
So if I had to rate the D, I would honestly give it like a solid 4.
Okay. 4 buckets.
Cause he had the vines too, so I feel like it deserves a 4 just because he had like double the purpose, you know, like the vines were kind of teasing certain places while the dick was kind of doing certain things, you know, multi-purpose. We love it. As for the sex, probably like a solid 4 too. I feel like this story is a solid 4 all around.
I will say the reason I didn't pick this one up was because, like, my childhood, like, of course, was Lord of the Rings, and in those movies, they had giant trees, the Ents, and I was just not about reading about their sex life, so that was the reason why I did not read this one.
Well, you missed out. So the next story is A Demon, an Orc, and a Bartender by Matilda Vega? Someone else read this one. Who read this one?
I did. S, you didn't read this one?
No.
I'm shocked.
What? S
I
did
am
not read
shocked.
the threesome book, and I read it?
Shocking.
So as the title would let you know, well, actually, you read it as Seff, so
Okay.
tell us what it's about.
Okay, so the story starts off with our heroine, is it Eileen? How would you pronounce it?
I am not bothering with names. I'm sorry.
All right. She is the bartender at this supernatural-esque bar that is kind of like a gateway to like this portal.
A portal, yeah.
And so she's just, living day-to-day life. We have orcs visiting this bar all the time, and there's one orc in particular.
A motorcycle club.
Yeah, they're a motorcycle club.
Of orcs.
And there's one orc in particular she cannot stand. He's literally like shot his load onto the countertop.
He literally jizzed all over her bar at some point.
He tried to he aimed to come in a cup, like a glass, but then it was so much cum that it overflowed.
But also they're walking around her bar like with their dicks out. Like some of them just jacking off all the time. They're orcs. Like they're just like that's who they are.
Oh, they're messy.
Yeah, they're really messy. Anyways, so our girl, Eileen, however you say her name, she comes across this demon, this small little demon who's getting beat up by like these summoners, and it's very much like what we know of like demons they are brought to our world, or whatever world this is, by summoners, by human people that, you know, want to control them and want them as like their slaves. Anyway, so we have this demon that's very tiny. She saves him from the summoners, and she realizes that he's like very injured and very sick, and she at first thinks he's a child because of how small he is. So she brings him home, helps take care of him. She slowly realizes that he's getting bigger as time passes, and she's feeling a lot weaker. And then she falls asleep, and then all of a sudden, the demon is getting like a lot bigger, and they're almost the same height, and she's like exhausted. She can't go into work, and then she starts realizing that he's an incubus.
Incubus, I think.
Incubus.
Anyways, so then she's like, "Oh my gosh, like this, you're literally killing me. You're sucking all my energy out." And he's like, "Yeah, and I don't want to kill you, but like the pull to his summoner is so strong that it's sucking all of his energy out, and that's causing him to like suck out all her energy, not by sex." I don't know why I keep saying suck.
Well,
I mean, then it happens, you know, like sex happens organically, and you know, he's like, "You need this energy back. I got to give it back to you," and so they start to have, you know, sex.
But every time he gives the energy back, he gets smaller again, which means he can't fight off the summoners and the pull to them. So we get into a kerfuffle here.
So Joel's like, we need someone else. We need to have someone that, you know, wants to be an active participant, because I can suck out the energy and like, you know, feed off of this energy from like all, you know, the sex that's going on. So she decides to go to her bar. She goes up to that orc that came in a cup, and she's like, "All right,
because he's been trying to get into her pants for a while, and she's very uninterested."
Yeah. Yeah. So basically what happens is he decides to join them. And
well, at first, she's very much against the idea of the orc being involved with her in any way, but she asks the demon, like, "This orc really fucking wants me, so like, what if he jerks off while you touch me?"
Yeah.
And then he puts his dick in the demon's mouth, and it becomes kind of like a triangle type of situation here.
It's he would do anything to just touch her or like look at her, and he's looking at her the whole time as he's being sucked off by a demon.
Yeah, he's not into male stuff, but he's doing it because he
wants to see her.
Yeah. She's very into it. Anyways, for the longest time, she refuses to let him touch her, and then eventually they start fucking because they realize that when they fuck each other, the power boost for the demon is so much stronger.
Yeah.
Because they're actually mates. And this orc guy knew it all along, and his jizz on the counter was to prove his masculinity. Like, to him, he was courting her. She didn't get that. She didn't get the memo. Anyway, I will say there was a lot of sex in this one. Like,
there was
a lot.
95%
sex, very little substance as far as, like, romance-wise.
Yeah.
And I was a little annoyed that she wouldn't let the orc touch her. Like, she was very disgusted by the orc. And I was like, "Girl, I bet you he's hot. Why are you so mean to him?"
He sounds so hot.
He sounded like a pirate.
He had a Scottish accent in my head.
So, well, didn't he actually speak with, like, an actual Scottish accent? How it was written?
Yes, shut up. Yes.
Anyways, the sex was fine for someone who doesn't like threesomes. I will say, though, my pet peeve is that even when the girl's having sex with two guys or two people, there's always one of them that kind of gets forgotten. The orc was literally fucking her, and then she was sucking off the demon at the same time, and she was only really thinking about the demon. Like, in her thoughts, her actions, everything was geared towards the demon, which I find very annoying, because I'm like, there's this other guy literally fucking you. Can you pay attention?
And he's like dying for your affection.
He's literally dying for it. Like, you're his mate. He's known that for years.
But at the time, to be fair, she didn't know until later. But it's just like I didn't like how she was thinking about him and also like the words she used to describe him. I don't know where like this negativity comes from for orcs in terms of like
Right?
fiction. Like even Finley Fen, like all the female heroines are like, ew, you're disgusting. No, you're not attractive. You're ugly.
All the art of orcs that I've seen thus
Are
far has really
hot.
not
Yeah.
been anything but like extremely hot.
Yeah.
So I don't
So
get
that's
it.
why I don't
get it.
understand that aspect.
I will say though that once they like figured out that they were mates, they kind of stopped having sex with the demon.
Yeah.
I think.
They
and
did.
then by the end, they were kind of like, oh, well, maybe once in a while we could go and visit and like have ourselves a little party.
Oh, so at the end, it's just the orc and her.
Yeah, the orc, you find out that he's actually a king of his kingdom, like his realm.
And then the demon is also a king of his kingdom. So like they can't. So like that's why the demon was like, oh, we actually would have worked really well, the three of us. But like I need to go back to my kingdom and you need to stay here with yours. So yeah, so that was that story.
How would you rate the dicks?
Right. We got 2 here.
Got 2.
Isn't it funny how even when he was small, like the demon, when he was small, his dick was still huge?
His dick was still
Can you
massive.
imagine this little tiny thing with a huge ass dick?
That creeped me out. I'm not gonna lie. It creeped me the heck out.
Think about trying to stand up when your body
would-
is so small, but your dick is so big.
Teeter over.
Right? He would tip over. It's like a third leg.
Yeah. For him, it really was. It probably was a support keeping him up.
Especially because it was hard all the time.
Right. Oh, yes. So basically, he didn't understand the concept of like humans getting soft because
Yeah.
he was always
Doesn't
hard.
happen to him. Well, they weren't weird by any means. They were pretty like normal.
They were
looking.
normal. They were normal.
So I would give them a 3. The orc's dick was fat. Like orc dicks are always really fat. like pudgy. The orc was fine. Like a 3. Like they both deserve like a 3, you know? Like nothing special.
Yeah, for me it was just like a 2.
A
Like
2.
the dicks
the
were just dicks. They weren't like
Right, okay. Agreed. 2.
They weren't anything special.
And then the sex was like a 3, but then like after a while there's just so much sex that you kind of like don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So like a 2.5.
Okay, I can agree with that. I'll go with a 2.5. I did enjoy like, the threesome with like, the blowjob and all
like
of
the
that.
first sex scene was solid.
Yes,
Like,
the first
like
sex
solid.
scene.
Even
Well,
though
the
he
first
wasn't
sex scene with
involved.
all 3 of them, yes, solid.
Yeah, yeah.
Loved it. More or less, the demon is just very passive in it because he's just so weak. I don't know. I feel like it was just like a whatever, 2.5. It was fun though. Like I enjoyed like the summoning aspect, not the summoning, but like the plot at the end of it, like when he had to defeat the summoners. I enjoyed it.
yeah.
Like I mean, overall, like it wasn't a bad read.
And like it has to be said, I read a threesome book
You
for this.
read a threesome.
I'm getting over it, guys. Slowly but surely, I'm getting over it. So the next story is The Demon King's Prize by
My
Stella
favorite!
Frost, which is also one of my favorites. I have 2 faves in this anthology, and this is one of them. Seff, do I do the honors, or do you do the honors?
No, go ahead.
All right, so this story, and feel free to jump in because I don't remember the name of the characters. I don't remember, Right, so this story takes place in a world where the heroine is, she lives in a very small village, I guess you would say, that's extremely religious, kind of like a cult. Again, you have these men who are priests who are more or less in control of this town, and they feed into the people of this town like really horrible messaging, like women are not worth anything, they shouldn't be educated, and they shouldn't know how to read, they should males
by
are
males.
right, yeah. So, and every year they send basically everyone that like is considered a sinner or an unpure or whatever is selected to be sent to this like demon realm, and like we don't really know what happens over there, but like obviously the priests kind of like make sure that everyone is super afraid of that happening to them, type of thing.
And also our heroine, she believes her sister died because of the demons, like that she was
Right.
burnt
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah. So she gets selected, and she tries to run away, and she's she's got a little sister and a mother. Her mother kind of never really overcame the loss of the sister. So she's been working really hard for both of them, like to feed her family and stuff. And she's been selected, and she has like a little bit of money aside. So she's like, all right, I'll pay this guy.
No, it was actually, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it was actually that she had the money and her mom's like, get out of this place. You and your sister get out. And so
Right,
she
yeah.
paid this
Yeah.
guy
Well,
off.
she was going to bring her mom, but then her mom was like, leave me and
Yeah.
go take your sister.
Yeah, and then that's when they get caught, and then she's selected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was already going to be selected. Like, we kind of knew that. But,
More or less,
like, she
yeah.
knew she was going to be selected because, like, she was considered impure and stuff. Anyways, so they try to escape, but this guy is a fake. He's an asshole, and he literally brings them to the priests, and he's like, traitors. So obviously, she gets taken, and sent to the demon kingdom. And at first, she's extremely reluctant. Like, she believes that these people are fucking awful. Rightfully so, because she believes that her sister was burnt and then sent back to her village. So it takes her a while to figure out that, like, things are not as they seem. And we meet this demon king who takes a liking in her, like an interest, because she's very combative. So he's like trying to rein her in. He puts her in this cage and
in his bedroom.
She even has a collar at first that like keeps her from talking because she keeps insulting everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah. So basically she's very reluctant to believe anything he says because of she was taught all this as a child. And then she slowly starts to see a difference, like you said, and starts to relearn certain aspects. But on top of that, she notices that like the demons are actually protecting the humans. There are like these shadow demons that they fight. I don't know how to go about it, but she basically figures out, all thanks to Fen, that she has like this light within her. And every time she touches those that are injured, her light heals them and also keeps the shadow demons away.
Yeah, because the demons are at war with the shadow people to protect the humans, which is why they have a treaty that's like, you send us humans because the humans have the light. And because they have the light, they can chase away the shadows from the demons, because the demons are extremely affected by these shadows.
Yeah. So that all happens, and so she starts to actually find a purpose in life and actually starts to realize that maybe she can actually be a part of something. And she slowly starts to recognize feelings for this king, and he also starts to recognize things that he feels for her. And honestly, this book was one of the best developed short stories I've ever read.
Right? Like, it is a short story, but it has a lot of like world building, character development,
relationship building.
Like, it's the darkest of the bunch. Like, maybe how we described it kind of didn't like let that on, but like it's quite dark in tone. Not like dark as in like dark romance, but dark as in like just the themes.
The
I guess
story went a lot deeper, for sure. Like, honestly, like there's, like I said, the idea of unlearning like a toxic mentality, like the idea of like men controlling women, like it goes a lot deeper and darker that, I mean, of course I wasn't expecting it, but like I love the way it unfolded, and I loved how she had to learn to trust her man. And I just loved her man. Like, Fen was such a great guy. Like, he actually had like a character, like he had a personality, and she also did. It felt like a full book, but like it was a short story.
It really did. Like, she packed a lot in so few words, which I honestly think is an actual talent. Like, that's how you know a good author is, like, they're capable of packing so much emotion and story and world building, in this case, into so few words, and it still works. And you feel like you had the whole story.
Like, I was legit clutching my chest from the angst pain, like...
Yeah.
Ooh.
Loved
Yeah.
So it's
it.
angsty.
It was really angsty.
The flip side to that, it's the least smutty of the bunch.
Yes.
There's only one sex scene at the very, 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 yeah, it's like the epilogue type of thing.
Yeah.
But there was a size issue here as well. Though, you know, not as obvious as with the other ones. He just has a big dick, okay? And she
Really, really
has
big
never
dick.
had sex. So they're like, it's not gonna fit. It does fit. You just need preparation.
No, he's like he's very large. I remember her saying like
Oh yeah.
the width of his thigh was like the size of her torso.
What?
I think I read that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that. I was imagining like Blue Aliens type of big. You know, like big but like doable.
I mean, unless I read that wrong, but like he sounds like large, like red and large. I just loved it. I loved her character, and I'm so mad. I want more. Like I wanted more because I'm just a glutton, and I just wanted it.
But I was interested in like some of the other stories as well.
Me too.
For the other characters. Like I wonder if she'll expand on this and like write other short stories for the other characters or like full on length novel. I don't know.
I did I didn't like ask her. I just said I wouldn't be mad if you decided to revisit this world, because I think you have something here. I think you could revisit it if you wanted to. All she said was that she kind of more or less closed off that like the conflict of like, the women and like the fear around the demons. But she said like she still like can see stories like happening in this world for sure. So she just needs to like
she could write prequels. Yeah. So the D was kind of normal, just big. So I feel like it's fair to say that it's a 2.
Okay.
In the context of this episode, it's a 2. It did the job though. Don't get me wrong. And as for the smut, listen, it wasn't the smuttiest one, but I will still give it a 3 just because there was actually a build up to it.
You felt the tension.
Right, which is not something that can be said of all the stories in this anthology, just because like some of them it's very much like let's jump into the sex, which respect, but like here there was actual tension here, and like there was an issue around them having sex, and like they actually questioned it and like kind of took their time. So for that reason I'll still give it a 3, even though it only had one sex scene at the very end.
All right, for me, because I'm biased, I gave his dick a 3 because I love the man. That being said, in terms of execution, like you said, the tension was great. The man could use his tongue real well.
Oh, yeah.
Purely personal reasons, I'm giving this a 10 out of 5 buckets. Only because, let me tell you, this man, like...
I forgot it was buckets.
This man, like, found out she was a virgin and waited. He's like, you know what? I'm going to teach you pleasure, and I'm going to, like, give you whatever you want. Like, you need to experience pleasure. Like, you need it.
Yeah.
And he was patient with her. And he also, like, vowed, like, at the end, it was, like, so great. She's like, let's try it again. Like, we need to make it fit. And he's like, no, it's okay. Like, I love you unconditionally. Like, I don't need this. Like, it's fine. Like, his vow to just love her was beautiful. And then when they finally had sex, beautiful. So 10 out of 5.
Do you guys sometimes read books and you're literally thinking, oh yeah, Seff would love this, or yeah, S would love this? Because I do all the time. And I was reading this story thinking, oh yeah, this is Seff's shit.
It was my shit.
I didn't say anything because I didn't want to, like, have you guys read one story in particular. Like, I kind of just wanted you guys to, like, go for whatever you were in the mood for. But I remember thinking, oh yeah, Seff is gonna like this one, or would like this one.
Funny thing is, though, I almost passed this one up because the synopsis was very, like, vague. Like, it was just like, I was like, okay, so, like, what's the dick like? What's going on?
A lot of them were quite vague, though. Yeah.
I personally felt like it was just, like, I don't know. It was just, like, she gets captured, she's, like, in the demon realm, and then that's it. But I'm so happy I didn't, because I loved it.
The next story is one that we all read, so I guess there was a real interest here for goat aliens.
You read this one too, Seff?
Which one is this? The
goat
one. Yeah, I read the goat.
Incinerable? I don't fucking know how to pronounce that.
Satyrs?
Satyrable?
Insatiable?
I don't know.
All right. S, why don't you take it away this time?
What does it mean?
And it's by Amy Wright.
Yes.
Insiderable. Insaturable? I don't know.
Terrible.
I think she was going for the insatiable.
Yeah, but like, I don't know.
Play with words. I love it.
So S, do the honors.
What's
Okay.
the
What's
story
this one
about?
about?
So this one starts out with the heroine Arya.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Arya. She's out during a storm, and she's looking for her pet goat that's gone missing, and that always gets out.
She finds another goat.
She sure did.
And she ends up slipping down like an embankment, and she finds this what it is, an earthly being that's injured and that's stuck underneath a tree. So her being the good human, she finds a way to lift up the tree to help him out. And she realizes that he has horns and he has like weirdly shaped ears. And then she notices that he has goat-like legs and a tail.
Yeah. He's
a furry tail. He's furry from the waist down.
Yeah.
My guy's furry.
And he wears a loincloth.
Kind of like a centaur, but like goat.
Yeah. Yeah.
With yellow eyes.
Yeah.
So she helps him. She helps him get up, and she takes him to her shed. And she notices that he has like a cut on his, I believe, his head, right? On the side of his head.
I thought she noticed something else, but yeah, okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
And she notices the blood, so she goes to her house. She gets like a bucket of like water and a rag, and she starts cleaning him. And then she ends up noticing that he is hard and that his loincloth has moved, and he is very much alert.
This anthology is full of guy gets hard in very inappropriate moments.
Our girl gets horny. One thing leads to another. And she goes down on him.
Yeah, as one does. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad she didn't milk it. Oh, wait, she did.
She did. It turns out that this goat-like man is actually some type of alien. He's not from Earth. He's not from there. He's actually a scientist that came to Earth to research these. What did
These goat people, guys, are more advanced than us. Should we be insulted by that?
No, because
I was a little
the way
insulted.
that
No,
sorry,
I
I
was
don't mean to
insulted.
hijack. The way that like she said, like she thought he was like a godly being, like he's like a creature from like the stories of gods, and so
Yeah, but the way he was talking about us, like we
Yeah.
were literally like, you know, I don't
Animals,
know,
basically.
prehistoric
You called us
or some shit.
yeah, we were unfit to be part of this like federation.
Well, I mean, essentially, they just get into this arrangement where they kind of just start having sex, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So, how did you guys like this story?
I liked it.
It was okay. Like it was just.
I've never read a goat like
guy. Yeah.
monster.
I will say yes.
That's
I've never read one before.
I'm a renowned goat hater,
We know.
but I was intrigued, so I guess growth.
Yeah.
That's what we call growth on my part. But this was kind of like the orc one that we mentioned before, though a little bit less so, but it was very like sex heavy and then like not that much story. I will say what I was disappointed with was the ending. So it ends where basically suddenly they love each other, but like they can't really live together because he has to convince the Galactic Alliance or whatever that like humans are not unintelligent beings. Because then their romance is kind of forbidden, and so it ends with them being like, all right, well, I guess we'll see each other once every 7 days. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
So then, like, you guys only see each other once every 7 days?
Yeah.
But then she's like, I'm okay with it because I'm busy.
Yeah, she literally said that. She's like, I have kids. I need
Yeah.
to take care of my farm. I'm busy. So, like, I only need you once every 7 days. And he was just like, okay.
Yeah.
What? I don't know.
Like I said, it was an okay read. I don't know. I just like it was okay. Like it wasn't like I wasn't like wowed by it. Like it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very like not a romance, more like fuck buddies that meet each other and they're like, yeah, we're good
Yeah.
fuck buddies. Let's keep this
Yeah.
going type of thing. Like that's how it felt to me.
Exactly. That's the vibe I got. Fuck buddies, and it's like it's convenient, so let's just stay fuck buddies.
Yeah. Like, yeah, right. Exactly. This is convenient. We like it. We can keep it secret. We can have
Yeah.
it once every 7 days and we don't need it more than that. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
That's how it felt.
That's exactly
Yeah.
how it felt for me. As how would you rate the dick?
Yeah.
I felt like it was pretty normal. Besides it
was.
being like as big as like her forearm,
Ow.
I feel like it was. It wasn't anything special besides it being big. I give it a 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I gave it a 2. I mean, like, it was just
I
big.
also don't really want to imagine a goat's dick. Like, I don't really want to have to imagine that.
I mean, like, to be honest, satyrs are, like, you know, they're a mythical creature. Like,
Fair enough. True.
they are, like, represented in stories, like, you know, of gods, like, with gods. Like, I understand, like, where she was going with. Like, I personally don't find them, like, a sexy ass, like, being that I want to, like, you know, take part in relations with.
Yeah.
But I
Good
mean,
to know.
I mean,
Thank you, say that
putting
so
all the cards on the
seriously.
table here. But one aspect I really did like of the story was that like she like had to, you know, let her desires be known because of her husband, her late husband. Like he made
Oh,
her feel
yeah.
so ashamed with her like
Yes.
sexual desires. Where like her, what is his name, Uranus, the satyr. He was like, no, like you should not be ashamed of like, you know, the desire you feel. And like I kind of liked that aspect of the story.
You know what else I liked that's kind of goes with that? I really liked that both mothers were still in her life, including his mother, and that there
Yeah.
was no shaming. You know, she was really happy for her that she was kind of like having sex with a stranger.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really liked that aspect of it because it would have been really easy to like throw in some drama with like his mother, her dead husband's mother. But no, she was like
Exactly.
super supportive and into it. So
And I love
like
that. I love that like she wasn't portrayed as some like evil mother-in-law like as like
Yeah.
they usually
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, and it's just cool to think of like a household where both mothers are there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Well, here's a question. Is there so like he's like part goat. He's not, but like he's part goat.
God.
So is there something that you absolutely like that would be a hard limit? Like you could not, well, I guess S's is like spiders and stuff, but like you could not imagine a hero that's like part that.
Clown.
No, part clown. Girl, we're talking animals and insects here. Part clown. What the fuck?
I would not be able to have sex with a clown, guys. I would rather like dig myself a hole and like live there for the rest of my life than fuck a clown.
We're talking animals here, guys.
I mean, there are quite a few animals. Like, I wouldn't want to have sex with a man that's part squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this conversation?
What are we talking about?
I was thinking like I don't know what I was thinking
Where are
actually.
you going with this question? And why did I become prey to it? And why did I answer it?
I feel like for me it's like any small cat.
But there's so many like shifter romances with cats.
Well, like a lion's, a panther, I can do those. That's sexy. But,
not a-
like a cat
Not a
cat,
kitty cat.
Not like a house cat. Okay.
like there's this paranormal romance author, Susan Wright. She started out writing like werewolves, and then she had like a spin-off series at some point that was that, like they were kind of like smaller cats. I don't remember the name of it, but they were ugly as hell. Like I googled them and right away I was like, no, that's a turn off for me. It's an
No,
ugly
yeah.
ass cat, like a small cat. I can't. No, a turn off. I can't do it. Anyway.
Okay. Is there some animal? Is there an animal for you that you will not
Or
fuck?
insects.
I will not.
If this animal was half man, half like X.
Right, yeah. Specify that, please.
I mean, Marge answered it for me. It's spiders.
Oh right.
But I could do a snake. Let's do a snake. I could do a snake. What else?
Yeah. Very into snakes.
Half fish, yes, I would fuck a merman.
You know what? There isn't enough centaurs out there. I'm gonna need me more centaurs.
I would. I just don't know how it would work. Is his dick at the front, or is it like where a horse's dick is?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Where the horse is.
And is it as big as a horse? Like, is he actually hung like a horse?
I think that's,
or is he hung like a man?
Cressley Cole, you have them in your books. I know they're usually portrayed as villains, but I think...
Oh, and she writes villains as love interests, though.
You could do it.
She could do it.
You could do it.
Cressley Cole, come on. Give us the answers we seek. For
Please
research.
delete this whole conversation.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, you guys know I won't.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Next story is, I believe, another one that we read, all of us. This one was the shock value for me. This one really threw me for a loop. It is The Mountain's Mate by Sarah Ivy Hill.
No, I didn't. I saw that was it. I've only read those.
Oh, you didn't read this one?
No.
Oh, Seff.
Oh, Mark.
This one was
Oh my God.
this one was a wild ride. The story of this one is you have our heroine. She's really struggling. She's, being threatened by her landlord to be evicted because she doesn't have the money to pay for rent. But she has this like bird-like creature that she's keeping in her apartment without his knowing, and she's trying to like help this bird. It was injured at some point. She's trying to like nurse it back to health type of thing and then release it, whatever. Long story short, she can't leave her apartment. Like, she can't be evicted from her apartment. There's a lot of like stuff that's not really explained about this world. Like, basically they can't really go out whenever they want, and the city kind of seems to be controlled by like vampire like beings. I don't know, a lot of it was like a little like I don't know what's going on. But she finds this job opportunity for a lot of money, and she's like, I have to take it. I need this money to pay for my rent. So she takes the job and she goes to meet the guy, and the guy is our hero, and he's a mountain. There's just
What?
no way.
He's huge.
He's like a mountain guy. Like, he's rocky looking. Like, he's like boulder looking. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I was kind of confused.
Let me send the visual of it.
You have a visual?
There's a visual.
There's a visual, courtesy of the author.
Nice.
I commend romance authors, man, to fuck a mountain.
Look at it, Seff. Look at
Oh
it.
my god.
Oh.
Yeah, he's big. So the job is that she is to wear this like suit that basically kind of like looks like, when she's in the suit, she basically looks like an animal from this planet. It has a name. And she has to go into this pen with the other animals and then like insert a chip, like a tracking chip, on this one like exotic animal that is being like abused at this like zoo place that he's working at. He's like a security guy. And he's trying to save this animal. So her job is to like insert the chip, and like that's it. At first, I will admit, I was like, what kind of like weird ass kink if I started reading? Because I was like, I don't know that I'm into this, when she's like pretending to be this animal, like she's crawling on all fours, he's like got a leash, she's eating like an animal. I'm like, I don't fucking know that this is for me. But anyways. That's not the wildest part. Long story short, they fail. Okay. Well, she makes them fail because she didn't understand the assignment.
She did not.
She did not understand
She
the
did not.
assignment. So they are caught, or they're put into this situation where they're trying to escape this like zoo place, but like she can't be found. So this guy, huge, right? Huge. So you would imagine what's swinging between his leg is like huge. To the point where, well, okay, actually, So at some point, there's this like door that's closing, and she gets strapped under it, and he's like trying to like keep it from closing fully, because it's one of those doors like kind of keeps that shuts from like, you know, above type of thing. Yeah. So he's trying to like keep it open, and then she like her suit is stuck into it, so
Her
and
butt's
she can't
stuck.
yeah, and she can't take off the suit. So this guy literally like brings out his dick, and he's like, here. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you really fucking asking for a hand job right now? Like, I'm gonna die under this fucking door. And he's like, no, it's for my oils. So, like, give me a hand jobs and I'll produce oil, and then you can use that to lubricate yourself out of the suit. So she's like, oh, fine, that makes sense.
What? Is she not wearing clothes underneath? How would this work?
So she gives them the hand job for the oil, and she slips out of the suit, and so she's butt-ass naked.
Okay.
And he's like, shit, we gotta run. Like, my partner, he's gonna find us, so, like, you gotta hide. And he's like, where else could you hide?
Oh my gosh.
Pants. This girl is hanging onto his dick in his pants. He's like, well, nobody's gonna question a little bit more packing me, like, you know, me packing a little bit more down there. Like, it's kind of known that we're, you know, pretty sizable. She is hanging on for dear life to his dick. Mind you, he's oiling up shit in there. So, like, she's slipping and sliding all over his dick. He's walking and, like, shoving her at the same time. If you could see Seth's face right now. She's getting turned on by it. He's obviously being turned on by it. And it is so wild. So wild.
You know what I thought about while I was reading this?
Yeah.
With the producing of the oils? Did you ever come across that video of someone, there's like a plant. It's called, I looked it up. It's called...
No video,
Oh,
please.
the plant that they like squeeze out.
Yeah, oil. Yeah, it's called a ginger, a pine cone ginger, pine cone ginger plant, where you kind of squeeze it and like oil like comes out of it.
Yeah,
and like that's what I was picturing.
Anyways, where else does this go? Because I need to
I mean, just the visual of her being small enough to wrap herself around his dick in his pants, butt ass naked, with oils slicking and everything. And he's walking and juggling her down there. And anyways, they're on the run together, basically, because he's going to lose his job. They know he did it or tried to do it. And now they're looking for her as well. Anyways, we get to the sex part. This guy, there's no making him smaller. So the way that they have sex is... well, she foreshadowed that pretty well with the scene in the pants, because the way that they're having sex is literally that. Like, she wraps herself, like, she hugs his dick, basically. She gives his dick a hug. And then he just, like, slips her back and forth on it. And you know, that's how they have sex, which, creative, for sure. Creative, for sure.
Is this the hero that uses his pinky as well?
Oh, yeah. They tried the pinky, but, like, it barely fits.
I just had this visual in my head, and I can't get it out. But, so basically, what would have happened if, for some reason, she was on, like, the tip of his dick before, you know, his load shot? Would she literally fly out into outer space?
When his load shoots out, she's literally swimming in it. Like, she could swimming in that shit. Like, she could drown in his jizz with the quantity of it. So...
But does it, like, shoot out? Or does it just, like...
It's just everywhere. Like, she's full of it. She's full of his cum. And then she's like, I don't want to wash it off.
Girl,
and she doesn't.
It leaves her, like, shiny,
oily,
shimmery.
shiny, yeah. Oily, shiny, yeah.
Yeah.
And for him, it's, like, acceptance of his mate.
Does his species have, like, females?
Yeah, they do, which I think is why the oil glands are important, because they're fucking mountains, so you would expect them to be dry as fuck.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So we need something to oil things up down there.
But there aren't that many females.
No,
right?
there
Like,
aren't. Yeah, no, you're right.
They've
yeah.
gone extinct.
Because oh yeah, that's a whole part of the story. Like everyone thinks that because they're so big and like supposedly violent, which they aren't, but they're believed to be. Everyone thinks that they killed off their own female with like their force type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Their dicks, basically. Like there's real taboo around the dicks. So oh yeah, that was that story.
But he's a sweetie.
He is. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. A lot of the authors, you know, were like, well, we'll figure out a way to make the dick fit. And I appreciate that this author was like, there ain't no way it's gonna fit. So I will find another way. And like, that was for sure something I had never read before in my life. It was an experience for sure.
Yeah, I was.
What would you rate the dick?
I think a 4.
Oh wow.
Girl, it's gonna be a 5 for me. For creativity.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
for audacity.
Because he had like these glands, right? Through everything. Throughout his dick.
Yeah. I'm intrigued in the oil glands, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I have a logistical question. How was she able to give him a hand job if he was so big that she can wrap around his dick?
Just, you know, just doing that. Just like listen, I don't know. I wasn't there, but
No, but wasn't it just her hands? Like her hands were available.
well,
at that
I
time.
think she was kind of touching one of the glands,
Oh, okay.
and that like, you know, produced enough to like, you know, because whenever she touches one gland, it's kind of like, you know, it does the job.
Okay.
So it gets the job done. The sex was, I mean, listen, I'm like, the sex is like, it's like both a 1 out of 5 stars and a 5 out of 5 stars. You
Okay.
know, it's kind of like so wild that I want to hate it and love it at the same time. I don't know. I'm shocked. I'm still not over it. I feel like I still have not fully processed what was going on here.
Okay.
I would love to read the story about the best friend. Not the best friend, the friend guard, Hell.
Oh,
What was
right.
his
That
name?
was hinted at. Like, he had been pining over this woman for, yeah.
The human that he
And he was like,
guarding.
oh, we're allowed to have sex with humans now? Okay. Taking
Yeah.
notes.
So I would love to
Taking
see
notes.
a story for him.
Yeah,
and
sure.
His human.
Sure.
As you didn't rate the execution, how would you rate it?
Oh, yeah.
A 5.
Okay.
When are you ever going to read that ever again?
True. That is true.
Next story is An Abominable Affair, by Maddie Sin. And that is the other story that was my personal favorite.
Really?
Along
read it
with
too.
the Demon King's Prize. Oh, you did read it!
I read this one.
Oh.
I love this one.
So this one, oh, that makes me happy. This one is the Yeti book. So
Yeti.
do you want to
I think
explain
this
it as?
I think this was my first Yeti book.
Really?
I read. I don't think I've read a Yeti book before.
I read a Sasquatch book. I have to admit, I'm not sure what the difference is.
But one's in the snow and the other one's like in the woods.
Yeah. I think that's what it is.
Right.
Perhaps, yeah. Okay, so what is this one about?
So this one is about our heroine. Her name is Tepisa, I believe is pronounced.
Sure.
It's her and her mother and her 2 brothers that are staying in this cave. Her mother is very sick, very ill. And her mother is known to be like this warrior princess or like this
Hunter. Yeah.
hunter. Yeah, like she's like well known to hunt and like kill the Yetis and and her mother has fallen ill, so she's kind of taken on responsibility that she needs to feed them. So she ends up taking the mother's like cloak type, which is the skin of a Yeti, the fur of a Yeti. And she grabs her mother's spear and she goes out hunting. And she goes towards the camp of the Yetis. And our hero, which is a Yeti, ends up finds her trying to climb the mountain. And he's curious. He's staring like,
intrigued.
What is she?
Yeah.
He is. Because she's struggling to go up the hill.
Yeah.
And he gets closer and he notices that what she's wearing is one of his fallen brothers. And so he gets a little upset, like, that she's going towards their camp. So he goes towards her.
Captures her.
Yeah, and then kind of like finds her amusing and cute.
Well, because at first she tries to pretend that she's her mom, but then right
Yeah.
away he's like, "You are not your
You're
mom.
not her."
Like, there's no way it's
So
you."
the mom killed his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ends up breaking down a tree. He sits down and he puts his hand on his chin on his hand. He's like, you're not that warrior. You're not Anna. You're not your mom. Like, who are you? I thought that was really cute. But he takes it upon himself to kind of, I guess, like kidnap her and take her up to his camp to kind of prevent her from killing and prevent her from going back and letting her people know that there's a yeti close by, I guess. I don't know. He ends up liking her, right? He keeps her around.
He's definitely intrigued, and then
He's smitten a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously she's like, well, I have to go back. Like, my mom is ill.
Yeah.
My little brothers are dying. The fire is probably out in the cave, so they're probably freezing and they can't do anything. Like, please let me go. And at first he doesn't want to, but then eventually they come up with this arrangement where he'll provide for her, because obviously she's shite at it. She can't hunt for shit. So he's like, I'll provide for you, but then whenever the moon is full, you'll come to me for that night. So she's like, all right, fine. So she goes back and takes care of her brothers, and like the good boy yeti that he is, he like provides for her, he hunts, he makes sure that they have everything. He's so freaking cute. And yeah, I mean, she goes back to him whenever there's a full moon, and it was just so sweet.
It was.
Like, I really love this yeti.
Really?
Yeah. He's like sweet but also like possessive.
Yeah. And he makes her a dress.
He makes her a dress.
Out of what?
Yeah.
Fur.
Out of
rabbits. Rabbits.
Oh, I thought out of his fur. I was like,
no.
what?
No, but you know what? Like, I really appreciated how he right away understood that, like, the prejudices that he might have against her mom don't apply to her.
Yeah.
That they shouldn't apply to her, which is so different from what we're used to, where it's like, oh, your father killed all my people, therefore I must hate you. Whereas here, he was just intrigued right away. He was like, no, you are not your mom. So who are you?
Yeah.
Because I can tell that you're not good at this. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
How was the sex? Was it good?
Yeah, my man freaking grabbed her, turned her around, put her on her knees, and like got down to the do.
I don't think it was on her knees. She was dangling. She was
on all fours. She was
dangling from his hand.
What?
Oh, right. She wasn't even touching the ground. Yeah, it was from behind, but in his arms.
Yeah, her feet were dangling. Yeah, she was her body's on his hand, and he's just kind of like moving her.
Yeah.
Like that.
The hand gesture.
I think she might have been propped against a tree too, or something like that.
Yeah, he was leaning against a tree. Yeah. And I guess that was like her first time, so it was just kind of, it happened, no pain, no nothing.
Wait, her first time ever?
Yeah.
Impaled on like a massive ass like yeti dick?
Yeti?
Yeah.
It was great.
It was great.
I loved it.
It really was. I love it when they're sweet, but then like when it comes to the sex, they just become someone else.
It kind of ended like abruptly, so I'm kind of wondering.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if she's gonna like expand the story, because she gets preggers. She gets pregnant.
She does. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Baby yetis must be so
Wait,
cute.
so yeah, what would the baby be like? Would it be half yeti, half human? Would it be full human? Would it be full yeti?
See, I want to read that, like
the baby yetis.
Yeah.
How long is her
furry things.
pregnancy?
I don't know.
That's the thing, like it just kind of ends. Like he tells her like, "Oh, I think you're."
He knew she was pregnant before she did.
Oh.
She started getting morning sickness, yeah, and he was like, "Well, that's because you're pregnant with her child." All right. Next one was
You didn't rate the dick, guys.
Oh, the 5 out of 5 for sweetness. I loved this yeti. I don't care. His dick is normal. he deserves all the stars.
Okay.
Yeah, it was big. That's the only good,
Yeah.
you know.
It wasn't furry or anything, but it did, like, you know, if you look under the fur,
It's there.
You kind of
there
have
is
to
swinging the dick. You kind of have to look
dig it a little bit.
for it. Oh god. Yeah, next one is Dreamcatcher by Clarissa Bright. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one because this one really puzzled me in the anthology because where is the monster? Question
Oh.
mark. Yeah, it's basically just this girl, like, she booked herself a holiday in a hotel, basically just to masturbate for, like, days. I don't know. She was like, I need to focus on my job, and I can't focus, so I need to just make myself come for 4 days in a row.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Must
as one
be
does.
nice.
Anyways, and as she's there, she, you know, meets this, like, really hot guy that is normal looking, and she's like, you know what, maybe I should, you know, get involved in a little hookup. So she does. She has sex with this guy, and then she meets him again the following day in the parking lot as she's leaving, and basically he's like, because she's very confused as to, like, did it happen or did it not? And then he's like, well, it did, but it didn't. And basically, like, it ends with just him being like, oh, well, whenever you dream of me, I'll come.
What?
But I won't be there, but I'll be there. I was just, like, super confused by this story. Like, where is the monster? Like, I guess you're supposed to understand that he's some kind of, like, incubi, like, dream incubi or something. Like,
So-
they didn't have sex, but they did.
So he's like Sandman in a way, like isn't that like the not creature, but like the myth of like the person that like is in your dreams or whatever, or in control of your dreams?
I don't know, but it wasn't, like, monstrous in any way, shape, or form. There was also, like, no size difference. So I was just really confused by this one. Like, so I would say this would have worked really well, actually, as, like, just, like, a hot little smutty book that has nothing to do with monsters, you know, just
Okay.
like a hookup type of story.
Yeah.
It worked really well. Like, the sex was good, but in the context of a monster anthology, I was just like, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
So for that reason, yeah, I mean, there's no reason to rate it really, because I just don't think it fits at
Okay.
all. So yeah, unless there's just something I missed, but to me
Okay.
it just sounded really normal. Then I read, oh god, how to pronounce this? Scalig? Scalig? By Ursa Dax. Right. Okay, so this girl, she's quite poor. She's trying to leave her planet. Humans no longer live on Earth. They live on this other planet, and but her ship, there's a problem with it, and essentially she kind of has to, like, emergency land on a moon. And on this moon, she's about to get it. Okay, so our hero, Scalig, basically he was sent to this moon to kill humans, basically. Like, he was sent there by his people to kind of spy on humans and
Yeah.
kill whoever he comes across. But then he comes across this lady, and she's about to get attacked by some wild animal that lives on this moon, and so he saves her, and in doing so he reveals himself, so that means he's supposed to kill her, but he's like, I'm not doing that. So instead, he tries to convince her to come back to his ship with him, which she does. And yeah, they basically just, like, you know, little by little learn about each other's, like, language and stuff, and they fall in love. He was quite weird looking. Like, he had 4 nostrils.
Oh.
Like, eight eyes, no ears, massive pincers. So, like, kind of like a lobster. I think lobster.
Oh, this is the lobster one?
Yeah, this is the lobster one. He had these, like, huge ass arms that are pincers. And then he also had 4 little arms that kind of didn't have hands. It's kind of like they end in claws, but those claws are not sharp. And then he has
Interesting.
legs, but they're kind of tiny.
What?
And then he's got a tail as well.
Okay.
And then his head is kind of like hairless and was described as like boulder-like. So the visual is absent.
Yeah, it's hard to like
can't
put it all
picture it.
together.
I can't picture it, but he was very sweet and I was intrigued, you know? And his appendage was kind of like a tongue-ish. Like it was kind of shaped in that way, but like a pointy tongue, if that makes sense. It was huge. Like it didn't fit. And that was one of my gripes with this novel, is that when they actually do have sex, he basically just inserts the tip because that's all that's gonna fit, and that's how they have sex.
Oh.
And I was just like,
poor
I feel
guy.
like that's not really pleasurable for him.
No.
You know? Like, I kind of wish
Yeah.
they had worked out a way to make it, you know, pleasurable for everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she could wrap her
Um,
hands around whatever didn't fit.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, maybe. I don't know. But also, he had a tail, and it was not used.
No.
So I'm
Mm.
immediately
that.
docking off points for that.
Yeah.
Because that is inconceivable. Why give it a tail if you're not going to use it?
Exactly.
So yeah, so that was that story. It was sweet. It was fine. You know, nothing much to say about it.
Would you
to be
rate it
honest.
or would you not rate the dick?
Oh yeah, I would. I'll give his dick a 3, just because we didn't get its full usage. You know, we didn't
Yeah.
get to see it.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I feel like I can't really judge it fully. But it was interesting.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. And the sex was probably like a 2. I mean, maybe even a 1, because like technically it was just the tip. Hashtag, it was just the tip. So like, what do you want me to
Babe,
do
it's
with
just
that?
it's just a tip. Let me put the tip in. Except that's all she could handle. Yeah.
And lastly, I read Thorn's Dove. This one is another orc book. Basically this girl has a bed and breakfast types thing where it's very Tolkien inspired, and it's in California on, you know, the beach, and the FBI is constantly on her doorstep wanting to buy back her land. Meanwhile, you have this orc who's in another realm, and he has this. His sister just died in childbirth, which is
Aw.
like really sad, actually. And he's supposed to marry this orc princess from another land to whatever, make like an alliance type thing.
Mhm.
Instead, he has this dream about this human girl, and he tells his mom about it, and his mom is kind of like the priestess of this orc clan, and she has this vision, and she's like, you have to go find this woman.
Oh.
So he does. He goes through this like tree that actually is kind of like a portal, and through this portal he falls onto her beach. So she finds this like orc literally kind of dying on her beach, and so she drags him back to her house, and she takes off his kilt because she has to, of course. Like, we can't leave the kilt on. He might die freezing, you know? Yeah, basically she nurses him back to health, and then right away he's very honest. He's like, listen, I think you're my mate. And she's like, listen, I'm not interested. I think that that's a little too much for me. So, and he respects that.
Mm-hmm.
So for a long while, they literally just get to know each other, take care of her bed and breakfast, build shit together, get to know each other, like I said, and then eventually that leads to the sex, and then eventually that leads to happy ever after.
Nice. How was the sex?
I'm tired. Can you tell? Yeah, it was fine. The sex was good, actually. So this guy, from my understanding, he's gray.
Okay.
And then his dick is kind of ribbed at the tip and at the base. And then
Ribbed?
ribbed.
Oh, so it's like ribbed for her pleasure. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the middle in the middle, instead of like it being like smooth skin, it's kind of like a pumpkin.
What?
But like shaped like a dick. You know what I mean? Like what I mean by a pumpkin, like it's shaped in that way.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it has
okay,
like
yeah.
those
Like the
things,
grooves
like
within it. Yeah. Okay.
grooves. Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. It has that. So it's shaped like that.
Interesting.
So it's
So,
like double ribbed for pleasure.
Ribbed, pumpkin ribbed.
Exactly.
Did it do anything? Like, was it just like it's just
Not
like
really.
so just like the feel of it inside is
Yeah. Mostly, yeah. Yeah, so I would give it a solid 3, you know,
okay.
for not looking just like a dick, you know, which
Yeah.
is what you usually get with orcs, you know, it's just like a big dick.
Yeah.
Here there was like a little bit of something different. And as for the sex, yeah, like a 3 too.
Okay.
You know, it was a solid
Did she
3.
have like a purpose though? Like, you know how he saw her and that was it, and then the mom was like, "You have to go." Was there a purpose to him finding her besides like her being his mate?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Okay. All right.
No comment. I'm kidding.
I have
To
a
be
question.
perfectly honest, I don't remember.
It's okay. It's
That's
okay.
why.
Is that hero the one on the cover? of the book?
Oh.
Oh.
It looks like he's wearing a kilt.
You know what? I think he is. Yeah, he's got dark hair. He's gray. Yeah, that is him. I didn't connect that. Wow.
Damn, ass. Look at you and your deducing skills.
Right? Oh god. So to end this, my question for you guys is,
Yeah.
you're stranded on a planet with one of these guys. Who do you pick?
Fan. That's it. I'm done.
The Yeti.
Bitch, I'm picking the Yeti.
No, you pick someone else.
The Yeti's
But-
mine.
I really love the Yeti.
No, I want the Yeti too.
We can share.
Okay,
We can rotate.
Yeah, just rotate.
sure.
We'll rotate them around a little bit.
Anyways, all right. Well, that was quick and easy. We clearly have our favorites.
Honestly, yeah, like give it a try. Like give this anthology a try if like you're into monsters. I know we spoiled all of them, but I feel like you would have came into this episode like reading the novellas.
But also, some people apparently don't consider aliens to be monsters.
That's fair.
A part of the subgenre well, I mean, I actually don't think it's fair. To me, monster romance is literally anything that is not
Human.
like just a shifter or humans, obviously. But yeah, some people are like, no, that's a different subgenre of romance. It's like the
I'm
alien
gonna consider it a
romance.
monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
my
gonna
world.
consider it a monster too, but I understand the people that are like, no, it's not like a Mothman. They're not like, you know, a Yeti, for example. They're not like a tree monster. Like, I get it.
This one was very alien heavy. Like, even the ones that were like, the goat guy is an alien. They're all
Yeah.
aliens. It was very
What?
much like,
They
Sci-fi.
are aliens, but monster like they use aliens to justify or explain
yeah.
the creature, the person.
Anyways, long story short, if you made it this far and you read these stories, I hope you enjoyed them. If you're interested in looking them out or checking them out, you'll find that there's variety here. So there's certainly something for everyone.
Yeah.
So please check it out. I believe this is a limited time anthology, so it will not be up forever. So grab it while you can. All right. If you want to find us online to let us know which ones you've read and loved, or you want to, you read that mountain mate story and you want to let us know how you feel about that. Please feel free to find us online. On Twitter, we are the RTM Pod. On Instagram, we are Romancing the Monsters Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search for the name of our podcast and you should be able to find us. And if you want to email, it's romancethemonsterspodcast@gmail.com. My voice is so dead.
Yeah, mine too.
We need to practice though for the Bridgerton episodes.
Oh my gosh, we do.
God. Yeah, and if you're looking for me specifically, you can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at Foes and Lovers.
And you can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at ButThisBook.
And you can find me, Seff, on both Instagram and Twitter at Pros with Woes. And also, you can leave reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you so wish. It'd mean the world if you could. And also subscribe if you want. You can subscribe on any of the podcast platforms.
Yeah, and let us know if you enjoy the anthology content on the podcast, because we would love to do more. There's different types of anthologies out there, so yeah. See you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.